Hello everyone, that manga kid here to do a wrap-up of the Get Graphic Readathon that took place from August 23rd through August 25th, 2019. It was hosted by Kayla at Bookadoodles, Adriana from Perpetual Pages, and Matthew Sharapa. All of their channels will be in the description below. I had a lot of fun with this readathon, even though most of the reading I did was on the Saturday because I was gone the entire day on Friday, and then I did go out on Sunday as well, so I read a little bit less than I would have had I had the full 3 days, but I'm really happy with what I did read. I think I got 22 volumes of manga read during this readathon. Now, this was a graphic novel of any kind sort of readathon, so comics, graphic novels, manga, anything, but I pretty much read manga almost exclusively, so I only read manga for this. But anyway, starting off, I read volume 1 of Dive, and this is by original stories by Edo Mori, and the manga adaptation was by Ruzuru Akashiba. There's been a few different adaptations of this. It was originally a novel by Edo Mori. There was an anime, which is what turned me on to this series. I watched the anime a couple of years ago when it came out and loved it. And then there was a manga released, I believe, in the early 2000s. But this is an updated manga adapted from the anime, I believe, of the original novel's story. And it's about a middle school student who is part of a diving league club, and he loves diving. And so they get this new coach who basically says, we're going to shut this place down unless one of you ends up in the Olympics and qualifies for the Olympics. And so their regimen has been increased, and they're now much more intense, and it's so much fun. I really enjoy this series, and I loved the manga for it. So I've started off the readathon with this and read all 3 volumes of Dive, and that's complete in the 3 volumes. Next, I went with Whenever Our Eyes Meet, a Woman's Love Anthology. This is the workplace adult Yuri romance companion to the Eclair love anthology of high school Yuri romances. I do own that one, but I haven't read it yet. I did choose to read this one because I enjoy Yuri that actually involves adults. And so it's a bunch of different Yuri mangaka. It's an anthology, so it's tons of short stories by many different creators of Yuri manga. I really enjoyed it. This was so cute. Not super explicit really at all, actually, but really cute and short and sweet. Then I read volume 5 of Shortcake Cake, one of my favorite shoujos that's releasing right now. This is a Viz title, and this cover is gorgeous. I love the colors on it. It's about a boarding house, and this girl, 10, she's in high school, and she lives in this boarding house. It's a co-ed boarding house, and obviously, so shoujo, shenanigans ensue, and it's really cute. The art is beautiful, in my opinion, and I just like it. It's a lot of fun. Then I read volume 4 of Hatsuharu. This is another currently releasing shoujo, but this is by Yen Press, and it's from the perspective of the male rather than the female, which typically shoujo is. I do have a first impressions of this coming out very soon, maybe within a few weeks. I pre-film a ton of videos and then schedule them to come out, so this one, I think the first impressions of this series comes out mid-September, if I remember correctly. But I read volumes 4 and 5 of Hatsuharu. It's fun, it's cute. Look out for my first impressions of the series when that video happens. Then I read volume 17 of Barakemon. This is the second last volume of this series. This one was okay. I didn't really love it as much as I liked the rest of the series, but maybe that's just because I had a break in between. I pretty much binge read most of the series, the first 16 volumes almost, and then didn't read any for a while, and then picked this one up. But the final volume is coming soon, so I have it pre-ordered, so it should be arriving soon, I guess. And maybe the last volume will be better, but this one I just found a bit meh. I don't know. Then I started off with volume 1 of Go With the Clouds, North by Northwest. This is by Aki Irie, a new vertical release. Same mangaka as Ron in the Grey World. Absolutely loved this. I have a first impressions of this coming out in a couple weeks. I can't remember the exact date. Again, pre-filmed. Should be out very soon, though. Really, really loved that one. Next, I read Blue, and this is by Kiriko Nananan. This is a Ponentmon fanfare, I guess, published manga. It's a one-shot. This is all it is. Beautifully, very heavy softcover book with, like, photo quality paper. I know that Laura over at Manga Hoarder has talked about this title before, I'm fairly certain, and I found it at a used bookstore. I was super happy to find it. It is a story about a young girl who has a crush on a female friend, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a Yuri, because that doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like the right descriptor for this, but it's a very interesting read, for sure. Next, I read H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound and Other Stories. I didn't like this one as much as I liked the H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It's dark, it's twisted, and maybe it just wasn't the right choice for a readathon. I don't know. It's a bunch of short stories, but it was good enough. Then I read volume 11 of Bungo Stray Dogs. Love this series. Very good. Action, comedy, ridiculousness, zany characters, mafia. It's a bunch of everything. It reminds me of Soul Eater a lot because of the really over-the-top comedy with the very dark undertone of the series. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Then I read volume 2 of Welcome to the NHK. This is a Tokyo Pop release, and it is pretty graphic. It has a 18+ mature rating for a reason, but it's about a NEET, a shut-in, and he meets this young high school girl who's trying to, like, bring him out of his comfort zone and turn him into an upstanding member of society, I guess. He's also currently making a erotic game with his neighbor. So, it's funny. It's interesting. Then I read Little Miss P by Ken Koyama. This is a one-shot about a anthropomorphic period. Really, really loved this. I will probably make a separate video on this one and how I feel about it, but I loved this. It was funny. It was, in some ways, informative, I guess, depending on who you are. But just a lot of fun, and the art's really cute and ridiculous. But yeah, Little Miss P was really good. Next, volume 8 of Tokyo Tereba Girls. I talked everyone's ears off about this series, so I think I need to say any more. Really enjoyed this volume. Volume 9, I believe, is the final one, so we're getting close. Classmates, volume 2. This is by Asumiko Nakamura. I knew that. I don't know why her name left my head as soon as I picked up the book. Love this series. It's a boys' love. Very calming, very slow-paced. I love Asumiko Nakamura as a mangaka, and really, really happy to have this. Flying Witch, volume 7, finally. And I think at the back of this one it says, see you in volume 8 next year, like in 2020. Fly again in volume 8. Yeah, available in 2020. So we're going to have a long time to wait for volume 8 of Flying Witch. Very calming, slice of life, fantasy-ish series set in a small town. Love that series. Next, I read volume 2, 3, and finally volume 4 of The Delinquent Housewife. I will have a series review on this. Don't ask me when that's going to come out, but I will definitely be making a video about this one because it was so good. So good. If If you like comedy, family kind of comedy, wacky household shenanigans, pick this one up. It is fantastic. And then finally, I read volumes 3 and 4 of Hitori Jime, My Hero, boys love series about a boy who is in a relationship with his best friend's older brother who happens to be a teacher at his school. And so it is an age gap, but it's not terribly large of a gap because he's like 17 and the teacher's like in his early 20s or mid-20s. Very funny. I found that these 2 volumes, I made a first impressions video about the first 2 volumes of the series. Update, these 2 volumes were much easier to follow. The first 2 were quite confusing, and I did watch the anime and loved the anime. I found the manga to be confusing, but these 2 volumes, 3 and 4, did kind of calm down on the confusion a bit. I found it easier to follow these, so I really enjoyed these 2. So I'm optimistic about the future of this series. And that is everything I read for the Get Graphic Readathon. I had a lot of fun. I've been waiting for a readathon to participate in, to get some more of my backlog read. So thank you to the hosts. Again, all of the channels will be in the description. If you participated, please let me know. Let me know what you read. If you made a video wrap-up, please let me know so I can go watch it. Yeah, thanks for watching. And most of these series, if I don't already have a video on them, I will. So look out for that. But if you do have any questions about any of the series I showed here, then let me know. Thanks for watching.